Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ari, and today we're going to have some more stories about our toxic life. But before we start, it would be so much appreciated if you would subscribe to my channel, like the video, if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now without further ado, let's go. Today's first story. In this story, Opie recently uncovered his wife's 19-year-long pattern of infidelity, starting with an emotional affair and escalating to physical encounters. The wife admitted to a history of inappropriate relationships, including an orgy. She acknowledged narcissistic tendencies and sought therapy to rebuild empathy. The husband, grappling with trust issues, feels that 20 years of his life were wasted. I recently found out that my wife of 19 years was having an EA that turned a bit physical. D-Day was back in mid-June. She had a friendship with our middle son's best friend's dad. We'll call him D. That I became worried about when she wanted to go out to get drinks with him one night instead of coming home. I saw the writing on the wall. The next day, I checked her phone for the first time, really just to check on the timeline of her asking me if she could go out versus contacting him, and found that she had deleted all of her previous messages. I confronted her, and after denying it for a while, she admitted to having an inappropriate relationship with this guy. It was only after she read up on emotional affairs online that she admitted to having one the next day. She also learned that to get through it, she had to come clean. So she opened up about past affairs, inappropriate relationships she had sought. I asked her to put together a disclosure letter in which she detailed this 1 year into the marriage held hands with T when alone during a ski trip. Dirty danced with him in front of his girlfriend when I was out of town. Went to see him at his hotel room when I was not around. She said nothing happened. For years into the marriage, invited her boss M and friend P, who she saw with a prostitute the night before, up to her room during a conference trip to Asia. Had drinks, traded massages with P, laid on the bed while they poured beer into her mouth. M said it was the sexiest thing he ever saw and allowed M to play with her underwear while they laid on the bed together watching TV. 5 years into the marriage, during an alumni weekend that I did not attend, she played footsie and snuggled with my best friend before sleeping in the same bed with him. Nothing else happened. I don't think my friend would have done anything more. He was a known drunk. Snuggler. 5 years into the marriage, during another work trip, she planned to get a large hotel room to entertain and invited over some friends she had met during some work training, including a woman that she was attracted to. She said that she was worried she might be bi and had a lot to drink. Someone suggested a strip drinking game, and it turned into an orgy, where she did oral on the girl she found attractive and made out with multiple girls the whole night, and also kissed the only guy there. She says she did not have intimate other than giving oral since she was on her period. Since D-Day, she has tried to do her part. We are both doing therapy. I'm very codependent, turns out, and I'm starting to see how messed up she is mentally. She seems like she has some narcissistic tendencies, like needing constant affection from other people and seeking those relationships that even she admits are with unscrupulous guys, as she is interested to see where it goes. She has told me that for a while she had 1 foot in and 1 foot out in our relationship, even though we have 3 awesome sons. She had trouble bonding with them when they were born and just recently dropped the bomb that all along she thought that she stayed in the relationship for me and that these things that she did were her way of making it so that she could stay with me. This, of course, is no longer what she thinks as we attempt her now. She sees all the errors of her way and wants to learn how to feel empathy again and love me as I should. I wanted to do her for the sake of our boys, but after you tell someone that you were only in a marriage of almost 20 years just to keep me happy and had to cheat to do it, I just don't see how I can be with this person. I mean, I love my kids, but I feel like she wasted 20 years of my life, and I have no idea how I will ever trust her again. If I didn't out her, she would have gone to her grave with this stuff. I know I'm not perfect. I've got anger issues sometimes and contributed to the circumstances that caused her to feel like maybe she couldn't be all in. But when I asked why she didn't tell me about the first instance or the orgy, she admitted that it was because I would have broken up with her. So which is it? Did you want to be with me back then or not? Today's second story. In today's story, Opie's life was turned upside down when they discovered their fiancé and father were having an intimate relationship. The emotional fallout led to a messy breakup, strained family ties, and feelings of shame. Despite attempts at reconciliation, he cut off contact with both father and ex-fiancé. Updates reveal the ex-fiancé faced social consequences and he found support from unexpected places. They took steps to move on, including redecorating and seeking therapy. In the end, they expressed gratitude for the support received. Now let's get into the story. My mom died 4 years ago from cancer, and me and my fiancé used to go to his place for dinner. There was nothing unusual about that. He was lonely, but lately his mood had improved, and I was about to find out why. So yeah, my dad invited us over to dinner, and then after dinner they told me they needed to talk to me, which was odd. Turns out they have had an intimate relationship for over 3 months, and me being a moron asked how many times. I was starting to hyperventilate at that point, and they were both reluctant to share that. I eventually got the full story. I won't write that here as it's painful enough already, and I feel stupid for asking. I walked out and left them both and told my dad, if you want her, you can keep her. You are both finished with me. And then I told my fiancé to give me the keys to my apartment. She was crying as she was struggling to get the key off her chain. I did it for her, gave her other keys back, and told her I would pack her things and she could come over and pick them up. When I was finished, her mom came over and picked up her things. She actually sent her mom to do it. I let her in, and she had gotten the full story and was so sorry for everything and hoped I would get through this. My dad and I guess ex-fiancee now have been texting and calling me for the last week. I have not responded or answered any of their calls, and my dad even called the cops because he was worried I might hurt myself. Oh geez, thanks for the concern for my mental health, Dad. Maybe you should have considered that before having closed with my fiancé. So I get 2 officers at my door who told me they had received a call from my dad worried I might harm myself. I told the officer I was not suicidal and explained what had happened, and they both looked disgusted and apologized for bothering me and what I was going through. The look of pity from the officers made me feel worse. I just felt ashamed having to tell these 2 guys that. I'm not sure why I felt shame, but I did. Anyways, my dad wants me to talk to him. I have no idea what to do here. I have no other family, no aunts or uncles, and now no fiancé either. I have kept busy by going to the gym and trying to live my life as normally as possible. My fiancée has moved back with her parents, but she is apparently still in contact with my dad since Dad keeps texting me that she is worried about me. Apparently, I am the asshole here since he feels that I should not treat her this way. So yeah, I am the asshole here apparently. I mean, what do I even do here? I've ended it with her, clearly. But then there is my dad who is now trying to fix things and wants me to forgive her. I honestly just want them both to leave me alone. Update: Hey everybody. Thanks for all the messages and advice. I did not expect this post to blow up as much as it did, but I just wanted to post an update on how things stand. First of all, I am doing okay. In fact, I have slept well these last few nights and had support from some unexpected places. Many of you wanted me to go public and tell everyone. Well, I did not have to. My now ex-fiancée took care of that for me. She told her best friend, expecting sympathy, and instead she raged at her. And now most of her friends and mine are now fully aware of what has happened. Her best friend called me and we spoke for over an hour. Apparently, whatever angry thought I may have had regarding my now ex-fiancée was nothing to what she and her friends subjected her to. They have completely cut her off, and they even asked her if she slept with any of their others. Her best friend also told me that she still believes I will forgive her and that she wants me back. Not happening and seems to be a little, shall we say, unstable. Right now, she seems like a total wreck. I also spoke to her parents and told them to give her time and don't kick her out. I honestly, despite what she did, don't want her to do anything stupid. Her parents are probably more pissed at her than I am. I also met my dad. We spoke in person, and honestly, the reason we spoke is that I wanted to pick up some things from home. I had a friend of mine with me just in case I felt the urge to punch him. He made no attempt at small talk, and my friend was walking very close by me like he was expecting me to attack him and was ready to restrain me if it happened. So that's the update. My girlfriend is a nervous wreck, dumped by all her friends. Her BFF and I have become good friends. No, we are not sleeping together or anything like that, but she has supported me and we have kept talking on the phone. She had been cheated on too, but she could not even begin to imagine what I went through. Honestly, I feel okay. I cut my dad off completely after I got some of my mom's things, including her wedding ring. I am taking this, I told him, and he did not argue, and you can have this. And I gave him my engagement ring, not expensive, and honestly, I did not know what I was going to do with it anyways. He just looked at me, and now finally it dawned upon him just how badly he had messed up. I also told him to stop telling her that I may forgive her. You are messing with her head, and she needs to realize it's over. He said he would not contact her again. I told him I did not care if he did or not. Final update. Hi, I just decided to post one final update since I have been bombarded with questions about how I'm doing and if anything has happened. I'm doing okay. My dad and my ex-fiancee have not contacted me at all and have left me alone. I have had moments where I felt lonely and angry, but I had people who have been there for me. My ex-fiancee's BFF and I have gotten close, and we decided to go on a trip, just me and her. We are not together, but we have gotten close, my dad and my ex. Like many predicted, have been talking and someone spotted them together in town. I kind of suspected it would happen. It honestly does not bother me. They deserve each other, and I'm just thankful I found out before I married her. More people have found out what happened. Now she and my dad have lost a huge part of their social circle. So I guess with many disgusted with them both, they found each other. Misery loves company after all. I also made it clear to my other friends that if they wanted to contact her and talk to her, that it wouldn't bother me. I don't want to control anyone or make anyone feel they have to stay away from her because of me. I am not going to be a vindictive asshole. That only hurts me in the long run. So to summarize, I am doing okay, still seeing a therapist, and have gotten close to my ex-fiancee's former best friend. I do get depressed and feel angry and lonely sometimes, but I have learned to deal with it. I spent an entire weekend cleaning my apartment to get my ex-fiancee's perfume smell out of my apartment, since that was a big trigger for me. And I decided to buy a new bed and a new couch, and I redecorated a bit. I sold the old bed and my old couch, and honestly, it feels like a new apartment. A fresh start, if you will. Thanks to everybody for your advice, concerns, and comments. They helped a lot, and I needed to vent about it. Today's third story. In today's story, Opie went on a camping trip with their son for father-son bonding, despite the wife's disapproval of camping. Upon returning home, they discovered the wife cheating with a coworker. An argument ensued, and the wife blamed her for neglecting the family. Opie, shocked and hurt, decided to divorce and gain custody of their son. The wife left to be with the other man and later revealed she was pregnant with his child. This past weekend, the kiddo and I went on a 2-day camping trip for some father-son bonding time. My wife doesn't like camping herself at all anymore and doesn't even appreciate our kid and me going. This is a big hobby for me and I want to share it with my son. Usually we argue a lot about my trips, especially if I request to bring our child. But this time she was oddly cooperative about the whole thing but still insisted she wouldn't join us. I was surprised but didn't question anything because I was so excited that she was finally allowing us to go, and I didn't want her to change her mind. I thought we had finally found a common ground and the arguments were ending. I was wrong. We had a great trip and returned back on Monday. We expected to come home to an empty house, as my wife should have been at her office for a few more hours. I walked the kid up to his room as he was exhausted and ready for a nap. Afterward, I walked into our bedroom to find a naked man in my bed. I recognized him as my wife's coworker, whom I have met numerous times at her work functions. At first, I was in disbelief and even wondered if I was in the right house. Then my wife walked out of our bathroom also naked, and I had no more doubts. She looked petrified when she saw me. I have never been so angry. I yelled at the dude to get out of my house so I could speak to my wife. He grabbed his clothes and left. Then we started arguing. I never yell at my wife. We always want to keep things civil for our son, but I was so hurt I was screaming. Then my wife decided to get defensive, and she said it was not her fault. That I was barely around and camped so much, even though I hardly go on trips anymore because she doesn't like it. She said that's what drove me to do this, your neglect of this family. I was in tears at that point. I just don't understand how her cheating could be my fault. When I turned around to leave, my son was standing in the doorway and I felt terrible for yelling. I quickly consoled him, but my wife snapped at me again, telling me to get my hands off him. Now she won't speak to me and says I can't see my child until I apologize. Apologize for what? She said we could go on this trip. She planned to cheat, and that kills me. It makes me wonder if she has done this before. I'm stuck staying with my parents right now. I don't know what to do. I want to see my son. I'm worried. I really scared my child. And of course I would apologize to him, just not my wife. But maybe it is my fault. For the past week, I have been working with a lawyer to initiate the process of divorce and gain full custody of my son, with the exception of visitation for now until more is resolved. Things were awkward and tense for the first few days of my being back home, so my wife, using wife to keep things simple and identities private, decided to leave to stay with the guy I found naked with her. I'm disappointed at the example she's setting for our son, but this makes my decision to divorce even more concrete. I will continue to share as much as I can if that's what people would like. But of course, the court has its confidentialities that I must keep within its boundaries. Update. Last week, I received several texts from my ex saying she was pregnant with an unknown man's child, obviously meaning she cheated with multiple other people before the one I found out about. She said she plans to keep the baby and start a family with her coworker. Other posts have context. She also mentioned that she wouldn't be fighting me for custody of our son. I told her I would be willing to split custody, or at least keep visitation rights for the sake of the kiddo, but she insisted she didn't care about that anymore. I am honestly in awe. I'm shocked she has given up on everything about the family we had, but I am most hurt for my son. At the end of the day, she isn't worth wasting any more of my energy on. I have been spending every moment I can with my kid and will continue to do so. I'm starting to feel more myself again, and I can't wait to get back into adventures in nature.